Hello, hello, hello. If you're just jumping on, welcome to the stream. Gonna just do some playing while people jump in. Get yourselves comfortable. Get those nerdy bass questions in your minds. And I'll do my best to address them shortly. But come on in. Let's get started. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the live stream. This is week number 26. And I hope you've been having a great week so far, and wherever you are in the world, that you've either been staying cool or staying warm and dry. But it's just good to have you here. And it's also nice to kind of just warm up and have a little bit of chai going on here. And if you have any bass questions whatsoever, anything to do with bass playing, of course, gear and equipment is always a popular one, but anything to do with bass concepts, bass techniques, anything that concerns the bass, pop it down in the chat and I'll try my best to address it. And Robert Jan is asking, that was standard tuning on 6-string bass? Yeah, so this is a standard tuning that I use, which is B, E, A, D, G, and a high C. I have come across some bass players who play 6-string bass where they'll tune the whole thing a fourth higher. So the lowest string will be an E, and they'll take it all the way up to a high F. And then I've also encountered some bassists who have it a whole fourth lower, where the lowest string is a low F sharp. It's a super low. And the highest string is a G. So it's really cool. You can put the tuning however you want, and then of course there are some bassists, people like Andrew Goucher, who tune the whole instrument down a whole step. So it'll be a low A to a high B flat, which is really cool. At the end of the day, however you choose to tune your bass is up to you, in order to help you achieve whatever music that you are trying to create. That's the whole thing. But in terms of what I do, I just use standard tuning. So yeah. Stanley, hey, how you doing? Nice to see you again. Dimitri Adams, so how to learn extended arpeggios? That's a great question, Dimitri, and I'll get to that in a second. Because extended arpeggios are really great at giving you a good sense and idea of just the extensions in a chord that you really can use and should use in order to like highlight the notes that are important. So the chord tones as well as the color tones, which are the extensions. And I'll get to that in a second. Anyway, I always like to finish them in some sort of musical way. There's something rattling on my cabinet. I'm just going to check that out real quick. Sometimes you have to give it a little knock and then it like goes back into place. Anyway, so extended arpeggios. Let me turn off all these effects. So this is a common one that I do and have been doing for a long time, and pretty much a lot of the basis of, in terms of how I like to approach a lot of things, whether it's playing bass lines and even improvisation over specific chords. And I got this one from the Jaco Pastorius Modern Electric Bass video, the one where Jerry Jamot interviews. It's like an interview lesson kind of thing. One of the greatest bass resources ever. I've had this thing for at least 20 years, and every time I watch it, there's always something new that I pick up from it. And I've seen this like thousands of times, but there's always something. But anyway, the thing from there that was the most helpful for me is playing these arpeggios up to the 11. So, and this is a really great way for extended arpeggios. So I'm playing a minor 11 arpeggio. So I'm starting on G. And so I'm playing the root, the minor third, the fifth, minor 7, 9, and 11. And you can hear how diatonically it steps up. And then I shift up to a half step higher to play a major 7 arpeggio, but it's a Lydian arpeggio. So it's going to be a sharp 11. So still using the same formula where it's... so now I'm going to be playing A flat, major 7, sharp 11. So it's going to be the root, major 3rd, 5th, major 7, 9, and we're going to the sharp 11. Right? And so these, and if you want to like take it just one step further where you take it up to the 13, you can absolutely do that. So going back to the minor, you know, for those of you who don't have a 6-string bass, you might be on a 4-string. You can go up to that E. You can also play it as you can do it this way as well. It's really good to learn how to play arpeggios not just in one way, but to play them in many different ways. So obviously you saw me doing it like this, right? But that's a really good way to do it as well, because it gives you different access to different parts of the fingerboard. So if I was to just do it here, I can get just in that area there to play that kind of thing. But if I wanted to do it more on a diagonal, that gives me this whole area to get into as well, which is really cool. And if I wanted to go up high, I can do the same thing. So that's a really important arpeggio because it covers the chord tones. Now, you can then apply it to like, okay, because I'm playing a minor 11 arpeggio, which is just pretty much a seventh chord, a minor seventh chord. If I want to apply this to, say, half diminished, I can. All I do is I just flat the fifth. Right? I could do that. Which is a really interesting sound. Now, if I wanted to do it where I have like, okay, let's see, let's say like a flat 9, so like a minor 7 and a flat 9. That's a bit of a stretch, right? You can do it that way too. So that's why this is so great, because you take your basic and then you can put any alterations to it. So then going to the major 7 one, which is Lydian. Okay, let's make it a dominant 7. All right. And what's cool, because of that sharp 11, we've now made it a Lydian dominant. But because we're playing a dominant 7, we can play the natural 11 in there. And it gives us like a sus chord, which is really cool. The other thing too, if you want to do a sharp 5, so a major 7 sharp 5, we can do that as well. Bit of a stretch, right? So those are, in terms of like extended arpeggios, those are the best ones, in my opinion, to really get stuck into, to really get under your fingers, because in terms of like improvising, and this will go into your question, Stanley, in terms of like ear training. So this is something that you can use for ear training. Let me set up a loop here. Let's see. So, well, let's do this. All right, got a little loop going on here where it's just G and A flat. All right, the notes that I was playing. So in terms of like an ear training exercise for improvising, this is something where like you can do without your instrument. All right. So set up a little loop like this and sing the first obvious note that comes to you for both notes, for both key centers. So for me, because I've been playing these extensions, the ones that are obvious for me are the 11s, right? So for this first one, this G minor, to the minor third, sharp 11, and then 9. So those things as well. The other is to, like, if you want to still get familiar with, okay, the just the basic chord tones of each one. So like the root, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. You can practice just, okay, singing what is the third of each one. So if I'm going to make this a G minor, I want to make it a minor third. And the next one is a major third. Right? And I can do the same thing for the fifth. You want to understand, like, especially if you want to improvise, is that what is the root, the third, the fifth, and the seventh for each one. All right. So I've established that I'm playing G minor 7 and I'm playing A flat major 7. I'm not a singer, by the way, but you don't have to be a singer to do this. It takes 20 years to learn that. Look, it's not something that will happen absolutely overnight. All right, I'll tell you that, okay? Because that's just not how this works. But this is something that if you do a little bit every single day, that it will accumulate, all right? You'll train your ear to be stronger, all right, to be quicker at hearing these things. Playing the arpeggios, that is something that absolutely you should do every single day on the instrument. And what I'm doing is that, okay, what about those other notes? All these other notes. There are some little other chord tones that I'm putting in there, so I mean, I'm still playing a minor third right there. It's just up the octave from here. And then if I wanted to add a major 7 in there, just to as a little passing tone. But I'm literally playing that, but the order is different. You know, when you then start to apply like jazz vocabulary, and in this case, that's something that's, you know, very kind of Coltrane like, McCoy Tyner in terms of the fourths. And then the other thing too is that even though I'm playing this arpeggio, there's also like these other arpeggios and other chords that are in it, the diatonic chords. So obviously we have G minor 7 in there. We have B flat major 7 in there. We have a D minor 7 in there. So that gives you the opportunity to not just always have to start on the G, right? You can start elsewhere. And what's really cool, and then another arpeggio off of that is I can play F major 7 in there. You know, so I went, and it takes me up to the 13. So yeah. Hey, Tim Wilsden, nice to see you, bro. Just try your best. That's right. Just try my best. um, Stanley's asking, do you improvise by ear yourself, or by patterns, scales, or stuff like that? So it's a combination of both. All right, you do have to understand the groundwork that goes into chord scales and what makes up different chords, right? Different types of seventh chords, all right? But you also have to use your ear in order to be able to hear something, like just like the whole thing of like, okay, when to play a Dorian as opposed to an Aeolian, so to play that as opposed to, that's where you have to use your ear to like the context of the tune. I was like, okay, is it going to be that raised sixth, or is it going to be that natural sixth in there? So you have to use both things together. All right, it's not necessarily one or the other. Although there are some musicians who will definitely do one, but typically, if the great improvisers, soloists, they're using both concepts together. They're understanding of the theoretical elements, and they're using their ear. When you are on the bandstand, when you're playing with other people, that's the communication part. It's the same thing of how we communicate to each other when we're talking, all right? We obviously have a basic or an understanding of whatever language we are speaking in. This is stuff that we've been working on since we were kids. We've been learning vocabulary, words and phrases and numbers from reading books and writing and watching television and listening to speeches and all that, to where we've developed, right, a library of phrases and vocabulary so that we can, in real time, effectively communicate to another person, all right, by listening to them, listening and responding. It's the same thing in music. When we hear a set of chord changes, which is a theme, all right, and we have to, okay, then tell the story based on that, right? And you might take things, makes things a little abstract, or you might just make it very concise, but it's, at the end of the day, it's a language. It really is. And yes, Dimitri, so resources for what I just played. I don't have a like tabs or anything for this, but where it's from, like I said, it's that Jaco Pastorius modern electric bass. All right, that's where you'll find it. That, for me, is the best resource for that kind of thing. And so in terms of why I go to Lydian, okay, so this is the other thing, and this is a common question, especially from my students who are learning to improvise. Like, why is the Lydian, like, over major 7 always emphasized? Well, especially in improvisation, when we're soloing, we're going to use that sharp 11, and this is why. All right, so when I play a major 7 chord, I'm going to play it without an 11. Okay, let's just do this. A nice C major 7 chord. All right, I'm playing a shell voicing. I'm playing 1, 3, and major 7. Now, if I was not to make this, if I didn't make this a Lydian chord, and I played a natural 11, it would sound like this. Oh, sorry. Nope, that's not it. Now, that's a very... Okay, we'll just say it. That's a very ugly chord, right? Now, obviously the highest note wants to go there, but we're already playing that E natural, that 10th, so we don't need to double that. That's a natural 11. It's not as pretty, doesn't bring out that nice quality of a major 7. So when we make it a Lydian, now it makes sense. Now it really adds the color to it. Because if I was to do that same thing I just played with this natural 11, it doesn't sound good. So that's the thing. It sounds wrong, right? That's the thing. But if I played a dominant 7, that's a little better. But still, we have this kind of crunchy clash between the major 3rd and that 11, and because that interval there is essentially like a flat 9, it's a little better. But if I was to take out the 3rd, there we go. And now we have a sus chord, a sus4, which resolves to which is really cool. So and in terms of like, okay, yeah, you're playing a Lydian in terms of improvisation. When we're talking about jazz and that kind of thing, a guitarist and a piano player is naturally is going to play a sharp 11 and make a major 7 chord a Lydian chord. And there's this whole theory. I haven't dived deep into it, but it's that George Russell, the Lydian chromatic concept, where from what I understand, he believes that the Lydian should be the center of the modes instead of Ionian. It should be Lydian. So, but that's a whole other thing. But you can, there's videos on it. It's, if you really want to get into like real nerdy about it, I highly recommend. It's definitely something that's really cool. So yeah, when we play major 7, we're gonna play that sharp 11 and make it a Lydian. Lydian's always great. Lydian is our best friend. So yeah, if you're just joining on to the live stream, welcome. Nice to have you here. And you can already tell we're getting into a bit of theoretical concepts, some arpeggios, and why do we use Lydian instead of Ionian, and things like that. So if you have any questions about bass playing, anything to do with bass playing, gear concepts, anything to do with it, put it down in the comments, and I'll try my best to address your question. All right. No Name, nice to see you again. Thanks for coming through. Stan's asking, what about major with a flat 9 added? What do I think about that? I mean, sure, it's a sound. So if we were to do, let's go back to C major 7. All right, and then so with a natural 9, it's going to be a D, right? Which is a really pretty sound. But what about if we do a flat 9? That's what Stanley. All right, Stanley, here's your flat 9. I mean, look, it's. I think it's a cool chord. Any of these are great when they're put in the right context. It definitely adds tension. That's for sure. Um, and it obviously evokes an emotion from the listener. There's a reason why when we hear a certain chord and we go woo, all right, even with a really crunchy chord where we go, ugh, it's an emotion. It really is. That's the purpose of all of these. They're all colors. I think every chord in some way can be usable. It really is. Not everything needs to be pretty and nice. Um, and I've played a lot of different music with all kinds of chords and polychords and stuff of that nature, and it brings out a certain emotion and vibe. It really does. So that's really that's really cool to do that. And so No Name's also asking, can you maybe show us the process of how one practices a lick that they got from transcribing? Like, how do you play it in all keys? Try to use it in different contexts, try to modify it. Yeah, absolutely. So, and I'm actually gonna let me pull it up here, although you all won't be able to see it. But this is a thing that I with some of my students that are learning improvisation right now. Where is it? Okay. It's a really great process. That this is one of my from one of my my first mentor in jazz music is a New Zealand musician, great guitarist and pianist named Lee Jackson. And this was a really great thing that he gave to me. It's from his doctoral thesis that he did on jazz theory and improvisation, and this is his scheme for acquiring skills in improvisation. So essentially, all right, you bring in a new concept and idea. All right, this is essentially, yes, from transcription, imitation. Either you've gotten it from like a book or something. Say, for example, a Jaco Pastorius transcription book or whatever. All right, so reading, there's observation. You're getting an idea of how the original person played it, so their imagination, what was their inspiration behind it. All right, maybe you learnt this thing. So say, for example, we did, just to put it into a perspective, let's just do it, let's say, let's do this. So essentially, this is a 2-5-1 lick. Right. So if I was learning it, say from like a record, obviously I'm going to be winding it back many times until I got it, right? That's just what it takes, Very bebop inspired kind of lick. Okay, so all right, I've got the notes. And then there's the intellectual understanding of it. Okay, the thoughts, the knowledge, memorizing it. Okay, so that means, so I just played it in a 2-5-1 in C major. So now I can, a good way of, especially on the bass, that we can do it. Some people might do it in the cycle of fourths. All right. So I went from a 2/5 in C to a 2/5 in F, right? So we can do it in cycle of fourths. Another way that you can do is like, okay, take it from the original place that you learned it, and then take it down half steps. Right? Take it down that way. That's another way of like integrating it into all keys, because that's also, you're going through all 12 keys that way until you get to down to the octave. And then I've got open strings, right? So then that becomes a bit of a challenge too. So now you're understanding, okay, where it's going to lay on your instrument, especially if you play it down here. But when you cover the whole fingerboard, because remember, it's just a shape that you're doing. But you do have to understand, okay, what key that you're playing in and where you're playing it. Because my amp is cabinet's rattling again. There we go. Give it a little knock. I mean, it's something. It's been a while. I gotta open that up and figure out. And the value of transposing No Name is that so that you can literally play in any key. All right, that you're not just stuck to only being able to just do one thing in one key. All right, because say if you're playing a tune and someone asks you, oh, hey, instead of doing an original key, let's do it down a minor third. And so you got to be able to do that, right? And that goes for anything, whether you're playing bass, playing the changes, you got to be able to transpose down. But in terms of like playing a phrase that you've learnt, you want to be able to hear it in all keys, all right? Because like I said, even though, yes, an instrument is definitely symmetrical, but if we've just been playing it in one key this whole time, what's going to happen is that our muscle memory instantly will only associate this one thing with playing in one key, right? And so that limits essentially what you can kind of incorporate and put into anything. So going back to, I want to be able to play it. I want to be able to play that lick in any 2-5-1 chord progression in any key. All right. And there's a lot of tunes that use 2-5-1 chord progressions. So I want to be able to use that phrase that I have filed away in my vocabulary. I want to be able to use that anywhere. All right. On any tune, because I want to have free access when I'm playing, when I'm expressing myself. I want to have free access to pick out anything that I know, and it doesn't matter what key that I'm playing in, right? It's the same thing of, take for example, when we play slap bass, what's the common key that we play slap bass in? It's E, right? Because it's the easiest. We got the open strings. It's so easy. We got that open E and all that. But what about slapping in a key that's doesn't use open strings, right? How about E flat? What about C? Any key, you know what I mean? We don't want to just be, if we want to be able to slap, we don't want to just only feel comfortable doing it in one key. We want to be able to do it in any key, all right? So this is why transposing is so important. You'll also be on gigs where sometimes they'll be like, hey, instead of doing it in this, it will be like literally last minute. And there's many times where I've played with a vocalist, and maybe it could be the environment that we're in or something, or just how they're feeling that day. Sometimes they might say, hey, can we just do this tune like a half a step low or a step lower or higher or whatever? And you got to be able to do that. You got to be able to adapt to that right on the spot. That's the thing. So that's why they say learn everything in all 12 keys. Don't just get comfortable just in the one. And you'll really, why limit yourself? That's the other thing too. All right. Like, this is also a great way of getting to know your fingerboard as well. If you're not familiar with your fingerboard, all 12 keys is a perfect way to get familiar with that. So going back to what I was saying real quick about this in terms of the skills for improvisation. So you have the intellectual understanding. So, okay, we've analyzed that, so if we're playing a 2-5, this lick in 2-5-1 in C major. So, okay, it's utilizing like a D minor. And I've got like a little chromatic walk up, but I start on I'm doing like a little approach tone. And by the time I get to this B natural, it's the third of the G7. Okay. And then, but I also hint at this flat 9 kind of thing. So you know what I mean? Like, I could totally like just fully analyze this whole thing for you, but this is the understanding of it, okay? Of like, oh, what notes are in there? And the note that I end up on is the major third of the C major, right? So this is how, and then you start putting that into your muscle memory, right? And then this is also integration into technique. So where do I do it? So I can just take any 2-5-1 and just, I can even rearrange it. And then it can lead into other things as well. And then you start to bring in the emotions, the shape, the content. All right, now how we, what message and what intention are we setting with this, right? The feeling, the intuition, heart and soul, those kinds of things when we're starting to understand how we can use this. And then there's the communication of the ideas. Maybe we want to put that in a composition or in a melody that we're composing. All right, part of a whole thing. Maybe we want it to be a unison line. How do we play it on the instruments? Do we want other instruments to be playing it as well? And then we can look at the evaluation of the process. All right, so this is a thing, because you played it so much. Now you're going to be able to hear it in so many other areas. You're going to hear other musicians playing it. You're going to hear it in recordings and be like, oh, that's that lick, So yeah, that's how I kind of approach that. So I hope that was helpful. But yeah. That's essentially how that is. All right, what else have we got here? And Stanley, hey, Akram, nice to see you. And Stanley, can you tell us how to use the octatonic scales, whole half and half full? Yeah, absolutely. So, this is the thing. So, if I'm going to take let's say a G dominant 7 with a flat 9, right? Right. Sorry. So this is the thing. Obviously, when we play a dominant 7 with a flat 9, we have we have a diminished chord in there, right? We have a so in this case, I'm in G7, right, with the flat 9. Maybe I could play it up top. I'm just gonna, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just all right, just kind of loop the chord freely. And so when I play this, you know, is that what's really cool about this is that, so obviously you can play G, but G7, but you can also play G minor 7. So if you wanted to play a G7 ascending and then a G minor 7 descending, you can do that. And then the other thing too is that if I wanted to play a G augmented 5th triad, I can as well. And of course, that can lead me to playing an A flat major triad as well. I can also play an A flat minor triad. If I wanted to play A flat diminished triad, I can do that as well. But I can also play like a B fully diminished. I can play D diminished as well. So what I recommend is like, okay, if you can get some sort of chordal pad that just kind of has the chord going, and obviously, yeah, get the scale. And for me, I like using that major third from the G and that flat 9 to really create some sort of like melodic patterns. And what's really cool is that, like I said, G augmented 5th, but we can also play like a C minor major 7 over that. Which is cool. So it's such a real versatile kind of. Again, this is how I approach octatonic, as I approach it because of the chord that it's associated with, right? And because of the different types of triads and chords that you can get out of it. It's just a really fun sound to utilize, because it adds so much like kind of tension, and kind of gives you definitely a bit of an exotic sound. And that thing that I'm doing right there is I got that one from Junior Braginha. So that's how I utilize that kind of concept in there. And exactly, Braginha is absolute fire. He is one of my favorite bassists, and just such a sweet guy as well. And we met. This is probably 10 years ago now. Actually, we were doing this bass show for Virgil Donati, and he put together. Well, Virgil put together the show featuring bass players. It was 4 of us. It was myself. It was Hadrian Farode, Anthony Crawford, and Junior Braginha. Essentially, bassists that have played with some of the bassists that have played with Virgil. Obviously, there's been some other cats as well throughout the years. But in terms of, I guess, the bassists that he had been lately playing with in the last few years. So that was, first of all, that was an honor to be included in that. And also a little scary as well, because, those cats are amazing. But it was also my first time meeting Braginha, and I remember he came in, he had this huge smile on his face. And it was just such the sweetest cat, and just, oh my God, the stuff he was playing was just incredible. Incredible. And I learned a lot from watching him, and that was one of the things that I learned from him. Was that utilizing that. So yeah, he's just an incredible bassist that I just absolutely love watching and listening to, and he's someone who has a lot of these concepts of incredible yes, not only just incredible technique, but like sensitivity and like groove and pocket, and tone, and just like the taste is just it's something that I can just absolutely listen to um, for a long time. He's also someone that can take like a very simple theme and just run with it for just hours on end and really develop it. So I just absolutely love his playing so much. One of the greatest. And all the other guys, you know, Hadrian, of course, and Anthony were incredible on the show. And there's actually some footage from this here on YouTube. There's like a little highlights reel that Virgil put together. Um, and so, in the stuff we played, each bass player we individually played with Virgil's band, did a few tunes each, and then at the end, of course, you know, we then join on stage for, you know, big bass jam, and we played that Alan Holdsworth tune, "Water on the Brain," which is a bass feature anyway. It originally featured Jeff Berlin with an incredible bass solo. So that's always been a bit of a bass feature on there. So yeah, that was really good, great memory. So yeah. How's everyone doing here? If you've been kind of popping in and out, nice to see you. We're just it's been cool. We've been doing a little bit of theory here, which is always cool. I love how every week is totally different. Some, you know, there'll be a week where we just totally nerd out on like gear. There's been a few where we just specifically have been talking about envelope pedals, and then there's others where we talk about concepts or bass players. And so this is really cool to have been able to talk about specifically theoretical elements. And I'll tell you, look, for the longest time, I was just absolutely terrible with theory, just music theory in general. My ears are really good. I have perfect pitch, so I can pick up stuff really fast. But in terms of the theoretical elements, I was terrible with the modes, arpeggios, and all that. You know, just basic harmony. And for a long time, that's just how it was for me. And eventually, as I got older, I was like, okay, yeah, you know, I gotta kind of brush up on this stuff. And so if you feel that your theory, maybe your basic music, you're a great player, but your music theory concepts are lacking, even just like the basic things of modes and arpeggios, intervals, and all that, I do have a beginner course for bass players that help you just learn the basic theory elements that you need to know as a bassist. I've taught many students over the years that have been incredible players, but the thing that they wanted to learn and they lacked was just the understanding of basic music theory. And so this was a way where I took what they already knew how to play and I just essentially showed it, okay, you're playing a dominant 7 lick there, or you're playing this arpeggio here, and they were able to grasp it really quickly because they're like, oh yeah, I know that sound, I know how to play that. Oh, that's what it's called. Gotcha. That's how it's constructed. So I have a basic course that can help you with that. It should be down in the description down below, and I'll get a link for that video. Let me just that I was talking about with Virgil. Let me just grab it here. So Joe Donati, The Bass Show. Yeah, and this was 2016 back in Hollywood. I'll share the link. Let's get the link here. I'll put it down here. It's really It's really fun. Hey, thanks so much, Dimitri. Thanks for joining on. Have a good night. And take care. So there's the link there for the Virgil Donati bass show. Really fun stuff. So the other thing, you guys, we saw, you most likely saw in the news, a beloved actor, musician, bassist, Malcolm-Jamal Warner, tragically passed away, and Malcolm had been getting some lessons with me, and he was absolute wonderful human bass player, and just as much as a bass nerd as all of us. And I extend my condolences to his family and his close friends and everyone that knew him. And I just wanted to pay tribute to him. This was a tune that we were working on, that was helping him with, that he wanted to incorporate into like a solo bass loop. And so I want to dedicate this one to Malcolm, and to also thank you, Malcolm, for just being who you were and inspiring so many people, and being an amazing human being in person. So this is a tune that he loved to play, and really loved to kind of just get into. And this is actually by The Roots, but it features Erykah Badu. This is a tune. I'm gonna just play like the theme and a bit of a loop on it. This is called "You Got Me." So this is for Malcolm. Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you. I appreciate that. I wanted to make sure that in some way acknowledge him. So thank you. And a few times he came and hung out on the stream. But so if you've been here this whole time, I really appreciate you all hanging out. This is always such a fun thing during the week that I just absolutely love doing. And it's really cool to just connect with fellow bassists and musicians here, and I really appreciate all your questions. And it's just really great to just nerd out about bass playing and how we love this instrument and how much we love to see and figure out how we can really expand the use of this instrument and what it can do and what it hasn't done as yet. And it's always great to just connect with people here who are into that. Mr. Mark Wright, how you doing? I appreciate your support. Mr. AccuGroove, I appreciate the sound that you have helped us create. And for those of you who don't know, so Mr. Mark Wright is the owner and designer of AccuGroove cabinets. The one cabinet that I haven't tried is his 21-inch sub. The 21-inch bass cabinet, the huge sub, which I think would be absolutely incredible for playing, obviously, like dub reggae music and playing like hip hop and neo soul. Oh man, that would just sound absolutely insane. One of these days, I'd love to try that. And I know that if I was to turn up to a gig with like a 21-inch sub, I know like the sound person will be like, "What is happening?" You know. So, as I usually do here on the live stream, most of the time I like to also dive into Wapo Grande. That's right. That's what the name is, because it'll just absolutely kick your butt. That 21-inch sub. It's amazing. So what I like to do on the live stream is I also like to just bring out a tune, play along to a tune that I've played in the past on like a recording session or on a gig, and sometimes I challenge myself by sight reading through it, and this is usually something that I haven't played in a few years or whatever, and sometimes the muscle memory comes back, sometimes it doesn't. So sometimes you see me play some mistakes, or I might crash and burn or whatever, but that's just the fun in it. You get to see it in real time, how I kind of deal with it and try to keep up with the music. And also it's just a really fun challenge. So I'm going to play a tune here. It's actually, it's a big band tune, but it's a really interesting one. And it's by a trombone player and composer named Nick DePina. And I played with Nick a bunch of times along with his wife, who is a saxophone player named Hitomi. And he writes some really interesting music. And this is one that a tune that I recorded on a few. Hey, Paper Planes, nice to see you. This is a tune I recorded that he did on his album that was released. When was it? This was sometime last year. This tune was released. And it's quite an epic tune. And this actually features some incredible musicians. Jake Reed on the drums. It also features Julian Pollock, or some of you might know him as J3PO on the piano. As well as Sam Gendel, a great saxophone player. Some of you might know him from playing with Lewis Cole and Noah, as well as being the saxophone player for Clown Core as well. So this is a really epic tune. Even though it's mainly in 4, it doesn't sound like it's in 4. So this is one where, like, okay, try and figure out where beat 1 is, because I'm going to be trying to figure out where beat 1 is as well. So this tune is called Edot Nell. I think I'm saying that right. Edot Nell. And yes, Paper Planes, Jake Reed is, yes, he's the drum pack guy. He is indeed. He has those drum loops. The drum packs are like super dead sounding drums. But Jake is an incredible drummer. I've played many gigs with him. Incredible drummer. He studied with Peter Erskine and with Ndugu Chancellor as well. You know, he went through USC. And he's one of those cats who plays a lot of sessions, a lot of gigs. And his wife is super talented as well, incredible pianist, keyboard player. But on this tune, you'll really get to hear Jake in this context. He's one of those cats that can play pretty much anything. So this is Edot Nell. I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. But here we go. Good luck to me, and good luck to everyone trying to count their way through this. So we'll see. All right. All right, get some sound. All right, I'm going to put this here. Oh my gosh. That that is insane, especially that first part where it just accents on different beats. Um, that's the thing. It's written in four, but it's it's very very polyrhythmic in terms of the polyphony that's going on, which is crazy. And so, not bad. The reading through it after, I don't know, I think I recorded this probably 5 years ago, um, and so it's definitely a fun one. It's definitely really good sight reading material for some of my students. So if you're studying with me, watch out. I'm gonna give you this one at some point. Hey Jess Quayle, nice to see you. Nick Santana, nice to see you as well. The pickups that I'm using, I'm just using just both pickups on this one. This was just both. So a real general kind of bass sound. That's what I was going for. Stanley, what do you think of Jacob Collier's bass playing? I haven't heard much of his bass playing, so I really don't know. From what I understand, I mean, he's obviously a very competent musician, knows a lot of things, plays a lot of instruments very well. And the last time I think I listened to some of Jacob Collier's stuff was, when he was like really young and he was doing those multi-track videos, like covers of tunes, which were really cool, really incredible. So that was so I haven't really listened to a lot of him, but some of my friends, they tour with him. Emily Albert, incredible guitarist, songwriter, singer. She's been touring with him for a few years. Christian Newman, great drummer that I've played with many, many times. He's been with Jacob for a number of years as well. So yeah, but no, I don't really know. So I don't really understand or can really give you what I think. And this is the other thing. Everyone has their whatever they do on the instrument. Everyone has their vision, has their concept, their approach on the bass. And sure, there are going to be things that I'm not going to be necessarily into, and that's okay. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to say, just because I don't like it, that they're not a great player. I used to think like that when I was much younger. The people that I wasn't into, they're not really a great player. But as I got mature and older, I could appreciate, this person has spent a lot of time on their instrument and has really worked something out that works for them, and people are into that, and I can appreciate that. So, and that's how it is for everyone. People are going to like what they like, and they're not going to be into whatever, and that's just the nature of what is what we do, right? And Nick's also asking, have you ever tried Incognito's Nights Over Egypt from '99? I have not, but I know. Is it the same tune as? The original, Nights Over Egypt. Is it that one? Who did? I can't remember who did that. Who does that tune? But no, I'm not too familiar with the Incognito's version. But I do. The first Incognito tune that I learned was. Right? Colibri, I think that's what it's called. Yeah. So that's really cool. And they're a great band. They've been around for a long time. And, other bands that are like that. So Brand New Heavies, which I probably, because of my wife introduced me to Brand New Heavies, and that's her thing. And so I've definitely really grown accustomed to Brand New Heavies and just that kind of vibe and that sound. Another band after that. It's not really acid jazz, but something that my wife also introduced me to was For Hero, the incredible band. Use a lot of upright bass in their music, which is really cool. So yeah, but anyway, I think that's it. We've been going on almost 2 hours now, but this has been really great. And yes, my wife is a musician, Tara Dava. You see her in the chat here. Incredible musician. There she is, For Hero. My wife is an incredible musician, songwriter, singer, and I just absolutely love playing music with her and writing music with her and listening to music with her. She's probably been the person in my life who has introduced me to maybe the broadest range of music. When she introduces me to all kinds of music, especially when we're in the car, when we're driving, it's always like a music history lesson for me, which is really cool. And especially because I grew up, my thing, obviously, is a lot of is fusion and jazz and all that kind of stuff. But she's introduced me to like a lot of other things. Obviously, she's very eclectic in her tastes. Like her big influence in terms of like jazz singing is Sarah Vaughan. So she got me more into Sarah Vaughan, and then she has a lot of Shaka Khan in her thing, and then also Bjork. I hadn't really heard a lot of Bjork, and she showed me the genius of Bjork, and to where I could understand and hear the influence of it in her music and her style, amongst others as well. So I would say, yeah, my wife is always been a big influence in terms of exposing me to broader musical tastes, like stuff that I wouldn't have necessarily listened to in the past. And then I show her some things as well. But definitely for her, it's definitely always a lesson when she shows me a lot of stuff, and it's really cool, especially stuff that she's written in the past and throughout the years. It always amazes me. So, and you'll see some more things from us coming up soon. We have a musical duo called Benjamin and the Dava, and there is a video. I'll put the video link. It's on it's here on YouTube. Of an arrangement that we did together called Speak Low, which is usually done as like a fast burning swing tune, but we like slowed it way down. I'll put it here. There you go. You can check that out. And it has some great musicians on this version. Alex Sill on guitar, Gene Coy on drums, Danny Janklow on sax, and Otmaru Ruiz on piano. And this was actually done about 10 years ago as well. And so, yeah. I'll take your last question, Stanley. Just the last question before I wrap up here. And how did I begin playing the bass? Well, I started playing bass when I was 7 years old. I was playing drums before that at 5 years old, but I started playing bass after hearing Stanley Clarke. My dad had a Stanley Clarke. He has a few Stanley Clarke records, and he put one on in particular, and I was just absolutely amazed with what I was hearing. I knew about bass guitar and its role and all that, but really hearing it like, wow, that's what you can do with a bass. And because I was already playing drums, I was like, wow, it almost sounds like a drummer, and like a guitar at the same time. It was. So it was that tune called basically Taps, I think that's what it's called. And it's a duo with Gregory Hines, from Stanley's record If This Bass Could Only Talk. And I think that is called basically Taps. I think so. I'm not too sure. But it was that moment I was like, oh, okay, wow, okay. I'm really into the bass. And so that's how I got into it. And, my dad plays guitar and bass. He's not a professional, but he's been playing it most of his life. And so he also has like quite a big musical taste. And so, a lot of, blues and rock and fusion. He's definitely really into a lot of guitar players. He got me into, like John McLaughlin, Al Di Meola, Lee Ritenour, Larry Carlton, a lot of people that I grew up listening to and had records I ended up getting to play with, which is really cool. And my dad is also a huge Weather Report fan as well. He's, really into Jaco and Alphonso Johnson. So he's definitely been someone who's exposed me to a lot of my, which is why I'm really into like jazz, fusion, and all that. As my wife says, fusion. So that was, a lot of my early childhood was just listening to a lot of those records, a lot of rock. So Hendrix, Deep Purple, Pink Floyd, The Who, a lot of that. So that's how that was for me, growing up. And my sister also played a little bit of, in high school. She was in the choirs. She played a little bit of guitar and a little bit of piano. But in terms of, professional musician, I'm the one who made a career and was really, who really pursued it. And my mom also played, some guitar as well. She actually taught me how to play my first song on the guitar. It was a Cliff Richards song called Traveling Light. That was when I was like 7 or 8 years old. So that was a big moment for me right there. And this was just before I started getting on the bass, but I was interested in wanting to play the bass. So, but that's a whole other story in itself for another day. So again, thank you everybody. I really appreciate your support and jumping on here and hanging out with me and really just being so great, being so wonderful, and supportive, And if there's anything I can do to help you with your bass playing, feel free to reach out to me through my website or on social media. Down below is all my links to my courses. If you are wanting to do something more one-on-one, you want me to show you some bass concept, you need some help with something in your bass playing, you can book a free 30-minute chat so that we can figure out if my bass program will be the right fit for you. And I'm looking forward to working and chatting with whoever needs any help with their bass playing or further guidance. That's what I'm here for. And this is what Bass with Benjamin is all about. All right. So thank you again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that other stuff here on YouTube. I'm putting out some more content, so feel free to check that out. You can also check out the previous live streams. It's all on a playlist that's here on my channel. So thank you again for your wonderful support. Wherever you are, be safe out there, okay? And I'll see you next week. All right? Take care. Take care, everyone. See you again next time.